we're going to start planting some tomato seeds for this year's crop, our summer crop that'll be grown in hydroponics. And I'll show you exactly how I set up the pots. I'm using 2-inch plastic net pots that we use every year. They're very, very efficient method of germinating your seeds. But what I do initially is I cut the base out of them, simply because it gives the roots, there we go, it gives the roots a little bit more direct access down into the growing medium where the nutrient is. So I'll run through and cut a few of these out. It's actually a lovely day down here today. Surprisingly enough, it's 24.1 degrees in the barn. We've mainly had 11, sometimes 13 degrees centigrade for the last 3 or 4 weeks, so it's very nice to have a little bit of warmth, a bit of sunlight. And our cauliflower seedlings on the other side of the barn are starting to pick up a bit because they've got a bit of warmth now. Okay, last one, do this one. Then we'll move on to the next step, which is lining the inside of these pots with coir. Because we start our seedlings in this coir peat here that I've already put some water in, and I'm getting it ready for planting. It's not a good idea to put it in dry. It takes a fair while to absorb a bit of water. You want to have water available to the seeds as soon as you can get them. Alright, coconut fibre. I'll pull a piece of that out, then we sort of tease it out like so, then pull a small bit off, tease it out a bit more, and push it down into the pot with your finger, and then trim the excess off at the top. And you can see it will be very, very easy for roots to come out the side of the pot and out of the bottom. And the reason we put this coconut fibre in is so that the peat I just showed you doesn't fall straight out the bottom. Right, I'll do another couple of these. Tease it out once again. Push it down. You don't need very much, just enough to keep the peat in, and that's way too much, but we'll trim the top off that, push it down. I put a finger underneath so you don't push it down through the bottom of the pot, and then run round and trim the pot. So we've got 4 there, I'll do 2 more, then we'll have the first set ready, because we initially put them in a takeaway container, and that holds 6 of these 2-inch mesh pots. So this will be the first lot we'll set up, and then once we've finished these pots, we'll go inside onto a bench we've set up on our eastern facing window, and the seeds will germinate there. We've got 23-degree heat mats set up there with some LED lights over the top, growing lights, to give them a boost along. Right, these are the seeds we're using today. Tomato seeds. Tomato money maker, strange name, but they're very, very tasty. They came from Western Australia, and we used them last year, and I was very, very happy with the results. All right, we'll start putting some of our growing medium just down into the bench here. We got heaps there now. We'll get rid of the coconut fibre, we don't want that. So what we do now, just take up the pot, have a finger underneath so we don't go out through the bottom of the pot again, and then just add some peat to it, coir peat, and using those two fingers underneath, I just turn it round, press it down with my thumb until we're about 1/4 of an inch below the surface, because we've got to put a little bit of this mixture on the top of the seeds once we put the seeds on them. So I just run around like that. You can see it's quite easy, keeping an eye on the amount we're putting in. Tamp it down, spin it round, a little bit more on that one, not quite enough. Another one. They're looking alright. I'll do these last couple and then we'll be ready to put some seeds on the top. I've got a pair of tweezers up there I use. It makes it pretty easy instead of trying to pick them up in your fingers. They're pretty small seeds. Alright, just line the pots up there. I'll tip some of the seeds out onto my glove, and then using a blunt pair of tweezers, I'll pick up some seeds and just place them one on each side of the pot. It's a doubler, put one over there. The seeds are very inexpensive, so I put 2 seeds into each pot, so that gives us a better chance of getting 100% germination, because by the time we discover we haven't got sufficient seeds for our 40 Dutch buckets we need, it's about a month later and we'll be late regrowing the ones that have missed. That's what the seeds look like in there. Couple in there. That one there's done well. It's got an extra one, but it was stuck together. So what we do now, we just put about 1/4 of an inch of our mix on top of it, pat it down. It's nice and wet. You can see how wet it is, and slowly work round, holding once again the bottom of the pot so that you don't push it out, and methodically running round and covering the seeds. Bit too much there, back that off, and that one there. They're the takeaway containers that we use. So we just put the pots into the takeaway containers like so, and then the last thing that happens is I pour some water into the bottom of the tray like so, and the water very quickly absorbs up through the dry coir, and that's how easy it is to set up our seeds for next year. This is our seedling bench up in the east facing window in the house. You can see how healthy the plants are. This video has been shot 5 weeks after the seedlings went down. They're watermelon and butternut pumpkin, and they're the tomatoes that you saw me plant in the beginning of this video, and I'll get a close-up on it. I'll come in a bit closer so we can see what they look like. You can see nearly all of them have got their first true leaves on them, and they're looking very healthy. I'll turn this one round, make it easier to see the true leaves. Here we go. You can see how healthy they're all looking. And then over there to the cucumbers. I'll put those couple of LEDs back again, the grow lights. They tend to get in the road when you're shooting a video, but they're part of our setup up here. Sitting on top of the black plastic you can see here, down there, are our heat mats. Two quite long ones there running at 23 degrees centigrade. We have them on for 4 hours a day. In the afternoon, we also run the LED grow lights at the same time, so that they're guaranteed 4 hours of heat and light. But at the moment, with all the amount of sun that's coming in and the temperature, which has jumped dramatically from 10 or 11 or 12 degrees up to 22, 23, we're not having a too much problem with getting the seeds to germinate, and they're looking pretty good actually. Our winter veggies crop coming along, not looking too bad. Interestingly enough, it's 21 degrees in the barn today. That's the hottest it's been for a long time. We've been having 11, 12, maybe 13 degrees if we're lucky.